welcome to the Mental Breakthrough, episode 67. Uh,
Yeah.
Richard, you've made a vision quest out of a business decision and it stuck. You walked away from expectations in Philly, bet on Spanish, and built a kingdom of pinball and telemarketers in Costa Rica. And what strikes me most isn't the seven-figure scale or the 10,000 agents. It's the warmth, the presence, the unhurried curiosity you bring to each interaction, which I've been listening to on all these podcasts and kind of getting a feel for you. And today I want to explore the fusion point where soul meets sales scripts, where spirituality shapes metrics. You embody that, I think. Would you agree?
It's gotten me this far. I think the market speaks. Yeah, I've been celebrating 18 years of my business, 25 in the industry, and I tell you what, Doc, if you don't love it, you can't do something for that long.
Yeah, that's for sure. Um, a Rumi quote: "The quieter you become, the more you are able to hear." What does that mean to you?
Well, you become more observant. There's something called congruence where people's audio matches the visual. And for me, in my industry, we've removed three of our senses, the taste, touch, and smell. So in my controlled environment for 160 hours a month, these agents are expanding their hearing, but you and I see things differently. Literally, there's image streaming. You can
Hmm.
be very descriptive on the phone and use your imagination. And so anybody that can tap into that lucid moment and just close their eyes and picture what's on the other end or someone's success and their lifestyle, I believe you can anchor with somebody better. It gives you it's like the longbow in battle. You get a lot more distance from that. It's a much more stronger delivery.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, would you say that by I mean, you're an orator by all means. I'm impressed with your speech, but I'm also I mean, you're visually you're here, and I'm wondering, does that actually, are you able to enhance that through um I mean, does telemarketing help actually uh, with 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 your with your presence in a video? I mean, I'm actually nervous. I'm more fidgety. I like it. What I said when I was listening to the podcast in preparation for
Hmm.
these interviews, and I didn't watch the videos until just after my last podcast, which was last night. It's morning here, so I was like, wow, you're. I had no idea that's what you looked like until just recently, and I'm like, this guy's powerful. So
Man, I got a face for radio. No, I'm only kidding. But what is all of this and what does it do? In my opinion, it gives you the sort of soft skills
Mhm.
and confidence that you can use outside the office. I mean, you can always earn a dollar doing 1,000 things, but it's the person that has the dedicated practice. Do you remember the Karate Kid?
Oh yeah.
He had to practice without Mr. Miyagi. And so I think if anybody takes the time to read, to listen, to study their rhetoric and improving their vocabulary, it only adds to a richer life. You
Mhm.
have so many colors of that crayon box to choose from when you want to make your point. But today, and I don't blame people, but
Mhm.
they really prefer using chat, text, and email for communication support and for business. And that's fine. That's convenient, but it can be misunderstood. I always treasure the electromechanical energy transfer that's between two people. And it's incredible what can happen when you can connect.
Mhm.
And I think people feel lonely these days, or things just scratch the surface and they just go through the motions. But unless it's one of your best friends or your psychiatrist or a doctor asking you personal questions, most of the time you don't get deep.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing on this podcast and me being excited all day to be here, it allows both of us a chance to let off some steam, share some ideas. And my goal today is not to sell anything, nor my business, is to pay it forward, is to give that sort of advice that somebody might need in order for them to make a bigger decision in their lives.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that was kind of one of my questions. Almost is, yeah, why are you here? Because most of the podcasts I listen to are more business oriented. I don't have a huge following. I've seen some of the podcasts you were on with a huge uh presence, and I think one of the interviewers actually even went and visited you. It sounded like you had a conversation before the podcast, and all of the
Sure.
answers were so smooth and everything. I'm like, wow. I have to admit, I'm a little intimidated, but I appreciate this. For me, I'm yeah, I'm living in the mountainous jungles of Thailand, and these conversations with native English speakers who are intellectual and can stimulate my mind, and it's so valuable to me. I know you're fluent in Spanish as well, so maybe you're able to have intellectual conversations in two languages. I can speak Thai pretty well, but I don't get that deep. And I'm yeah, so that's definitely something I yearn for. Is it? I mean, are you able to get that other places too, though? I mean, where do you get your intellectual fix? Or
Well, it definitely started when I was a teenager. My favorite class in high school was Spanish.
Mhm.
Doc, I didn't have the maturity or the structure or the discipline when I was younger to get good grades and to compete with my family that went Ivy League.
Yeah,
I wasn't a black sheep. I was just more of a dreamer. And you mentioned Vision Quest. Of course, there's certain times in your life when you get the cosquillas, you get the tingles, the mariposas. It's your sixth sense. It's driving you to do something where you can still live with yourself. And so at 18, I had to make a big boy decision. Where am I going to go to college? Because most of my friends are going to medical school and law school and
mhm,
becoming engineers. They had a plan.
yeah,
I had no plan. And my Spanish teacher, God bless her soul, said, "Listen, Richie, you love Spanish. And I see you go above and beyond. Why don't you double down on it?" And I
mhm,
did, and went to school at the University of Arizona. And I knew that once I left the classroom, Tucson had 1,000 people that spoke Spanish.
okay,
I get tutoring for free. I mean,
yeah,
everywhere I'd go. And it was fun and the weather was nice and it was just a beautiful place to be. And back in August of 2000, I had this one in a million opportunity to move here and work at a friend's center. And so I was building on momentum. It wasn't like a start, stop, and running. I was pacing. In fact, I
yeah,
was warmed up pretty good. You know what I
yeah,
mean? I was ready to go some later rounds in this thing. And so um, 27 is a good age too. You can shed some skin. You're not too old, but you're not a little boy anymore.
yeah, yeah,
And you can get certain things out of your system, but I was also smart enough to know that this was a chance that I couldn't let
mhm,
fall between, my fingers. So if you can get past parents' guilt, if you can put aside the naysayers and gray believers that love you, they just don't understand you.
yeah,
You might be
yeah,
able to carve your path in this world like you've done in the mountains of Thailand, which sounds beautiful. And I moved from Philadelphia to Costa Rica. We sometimes belong in other places, not that one's better than another, but I
mhm,
think we have a chance to enrich not only other people's lives, but our own and almost start from scratch again. So you
mhm,
can see what you're like at a different stage of life. And so it's very refreshing. It gives you a really good chance to get to know yourself and to prioritize and you're letting go of some weight, like
oh
the
yeah,
mental weight. And you
yeah,
become a lot lighter and a lot more liberated. And I think it's a much healthier way to live.
yeah. I I hear it in a lot of your podcasts. You're referencing some 80s movies and
Oh
music.
yeah, of course. You're
Is
so
it
funny.
is that where are you referencing Vision Quest the movie?
Of course, with Loudon Swain, where he had to
So, yeah.
beat the shoot. Sure,
Oh
Lunatic
yeah.
Fringe.
Yeah, I'm a
That's
wrestler. I
one of the
wrestled in
best.
high school and in college. So that was like that's probably my favorite movie of all time. And the Vision Quest is so pertinent to my soul. I've taken I took a similar Vision Quest when I graduated college. It was in I just kind of studied what I wanted to do. It was uh philosophy, which I loved, and then it's like
Yeah,
everyone's asking, what are you gonna do with it? And same as you, I didn't have a plan, but I had wrestled in college. I had done karate, and this is like before mixed martial arts was legal really, but I was going to Mexico and fighting. I studied abroad in Japan and was when it was coming up there, and then I was just like, I'm gonna do mixed martial arts, and I did that for like 10 years. That's what ended up
yeah,
bringing me to Thailand for the Muay Thai, and then I kind of started to figure it out. So that Vision Quest story is just like and I was a little older, but maybe 31 when I came here. So, and then that's kind of when I figured stuff out. So your story, but at the same time, your story is so foreign to me. So there's this spirit that drives you that is like, wow, that resonates with me. But like the world I've heard you reference in the other podcast that you're explaining things like, oh, it's not like the Hollywood version of. But actually, I don't even know. I don't even watch movies, so I don't even know what is that. I don't. I have a
I'll break it down for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And do you remember Pink Floyd, The Wall?
Uh-huh.
I just didn't want to be another brick. And if you
Okay.
saw Freddie Mercury,
Hmm.
uh, his Under Pressure video,
Yeah.
you've seen people getting shoved into Japanese
Yeah.
train cars and the thousands of men walking down the street
Hmm.
with high rises around them ready to go to their offices.
Yeah.
I didn't want that sort of life.
Yeah.
I felt that was a forced march.
Hmm.
And everyone was getting into the system and they were doing what they had to do and it was great. I just didn't feel like I was being left behind. I just didn't feel like it wasn't my woo way. There was
Hmm.
absolutely no way that I could get into that current and move naturally with that water. It was too many obstacles. Just
Yeah.
didn't feel right. And so
Hmm.
I think the first thing, and you know this as a professional athlete and as a fighter, you're no good unless you have your core. Without your
Hmm.
breathing, your core and your balance, you're done. You won't last and you have no balance and it just doesn't work for you. And so a lot of my stuff was internal.
Hmm.
I knew that I needed to not have resentment
Hmm.
and that my mind could be clear so I could focus on other things.
Yeah.
And so sometimes you make not selfish decisions, but you see it as more leverage for yourself because other things would be seen as a handicap. And so no one wrote a blueprint for you for Thailand, but
Yeah.
through the natural stages of your life, that's where you ended up. And this is where I ended up. And I think we have that sort of in common, the hero's journey. You and I love to leave castles, slay dragons, save princesses, and come home and tell all your buddies about it. All
Yeah.
the great
Yeah.
stories you have. So let's talk about this crazy industry that I'm in, the call center
Yeah.
industry. Well, naturally, you've had to call a place before for customer support.
Yeah.
You've spoken to somebody on the phone. It's
Hmm.
to me, I think there's an art of speech to it. You could retain a client, you can get an upsell, maybe referral. Someone could tell you how great you are to your supervisor, then you get a bonus. And so
Hmm.
most people hate what they do. Either they compromise their ethics or they just are in a terrible work environment.
Yeah.
And for me, I believe that it's one of the most important experiences you can have on this medium that we have, which is the phone,
Hmm.
and to speak with them. And so for me, I'm very selective of the campaigns that come in. I don't have anything against it, but we just do not do the sports books, casinos, stocks, pharmacies, or sweepstakes. I live in a very strict Catholic country, and Thailand has their cultures and traditions. And
Hmm.
you want to make sure that any sort of interactions and how you represent yourself, your own country, and living abroad, that you do things in the best light and you
Hmm.
follow the rules. And so I want to maintain my reputation and
Yeah.
somehow see if I can elevate this industry in some sort of way. But my man, it's got one of the largest attrition rates in any sort of industry. People burn out, they don't want to
Okay.
do it anymore.
Yeah.
I do compete against Amazon, HP, Intel, Oracle. So I
Hmm.
compete against the big boys.
Yeah.
But if you walk the rows, if you give structured rhetoric, if you use a quality control department to listen to their calls, just to make sure that you're striking at the right time, you're doing the right rhythm, the right pausing, you're speaking loud enough, you're speaking fast enough, you're asking sort of tie down questions. You're a fighter. I need to tie you down and make sure I got that checkpoint for the points. I use military alphabet because sometimes people have exotic names. You're living in Thailand. You got to make sure you spell those names correctly so you show respect and emails don't bounce back.
Sure.
And I believe that if somebody uses a thesaurus, they can easily adjust a tone, kind of like you if you're outmatched in regards to weight class.
Hmm.
There are certain things you can do, like for an example, you don't use the word help on the phone because it evokes an ego defense. You're putting out too much of your energy there. Why not use that against your opponent. And so I would say assist, guide, or lend a hand depending on the stage of the relationship to
Yeah.
keep you calm and cool. I'm still in control. And
Yeah.
also, Doc, I would never say excuse me or I'm sorry. Once again, you're showing weakness and dropping guard. I
Yeah.
would say for my clarification or for my edification. Was it
Yeah.
ABC or one, two, three?
Yeah.
So what am I doing? I am maximizing my strength. I'm minimizing my defense. And I'm also putting to bed any sort of moves that you can make on me because of my leverage. Because if
Mhm.
I'm anticipating a question, I'm
Mhm.
going to bring it up and make sure it makes sense.
Yeah.
Hey, doc, that sounds good, right? And so, oh my goodness gracious, if you in a 20-minute phone call or 10-minute phone call, you can have 20, 30-second checkpoints. It's more than enough for you to adjust accordingly and to go the distance. Does that make any sort of sense?
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of there's a lot there, but I mean, on um, one thing is when you say you're competing against Amazon, all these big companies, do you mean you're competing them in what you provide to clients, or you're talking about you're competing for the actual people,
For the
like
labors,
the
for
labor?
the
Okay,
labor
okay,
pool.
okay. Where are your people from? Are they from Costa Rica? Are they locals? Or are you importing them from around the
That's a
world?
great question. Since I'm here locally, they have to have the legal paperwork here. But it's mostly Costa Ricans. Bilingual, of course. We expect at least an 85% proficiency rate. I do compete with the labor pool, and once again, I'll lose somebody because of a scheduling conflict. If they go to the university, their girlfriend might work somewhere closer to home. They might make more money. Who knows? But why do I get people? Well, sometimes they like when you're a straight shooter with them. Some of the best senseis you had called the balls and the strikes. It's only to make you better. It's the moment that your sensei, your teacher, and your mentor stops giving you advice. That means you're done. You know, you're not showing any progress, and they're giving up on you.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I've known that if you at least just give people their dignity,
Sure. Yeah.
that's enough to start a very strong relationship because I'm usually the first boss they ever met. Plus, I collect pinball and I have Pac-Man and arcade machines, so it's a great chance for me to interact with them. But I am one of those people that truly care,
Hmm.
and I just don't write checks and make them fear me. No, I want to see breakthroughs. I want to see when they shed some skin
Yeah.
or they've done something that impresses me so where I know that they're becoming more self-reliant
Uh-huh.
and self-confidence. And we're not the young ones. Look, I see gray in your beard, brother.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We're the wise
Uh,
ones now. We're
yeah.
supposed to we're supposed to pass down this information. That's why you got such a great podcast, The Mental Breakthrough. It's amazing. It's exactly what it's supposed to be.
Uh-huh.
Each person's supposed to add to this dinner here.
Sure. Yeah. 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 I'm ultimately, yeah, I have this concept in my mind. It's called the Gathering 2040. So it's around when I'll be about 60 in that year, or 2041. I'll turn 60, and I'm trying to get people. The only thing, like, I love my life. I love the gardening we do, and the just living off the land and everything. But I do miss the intellectual conversations, which I'm able to get in podcasts. I guess the only step up would be to actually have people come here in person and have these conversations. So I want to create. I know you allude to, like, this castle, building a castle, and of course the labor is cheap here, so I can literally buy the material, bricks, and pay. And I give them good wages for compared to what they're getting, and it's still maybe $15 a day or something to. And I buy the material, and they just start building. So it's kind of like one brick at a time. And I think by 2040, I'm going to have at least a place. I just want to entice people to come here. I mean, if they want to come and do a meditation retreat, there's plenty of that around in this Chiang Mai area. Like, I just want, like, I'm not going to, I just want people to come. It won't be like a business endeavor or anything. Just to be present, just to have these conversations. And at that time, most of the people will be quite old. The people that I talk to are around my age, and kind of at that state in life where hopefully they've achieved kind of some of the things they want to, and they have the time and money to buy the ticket to come out here. um so
Mhm.
so yeah, so I'm kind of creating that project, and it's kind of getting created in real time, and maybe this is the first step. So I hope, yeah, I hope hope you
Well, the
you
first
come
thing
out
you
there.
should build is like a little rancho, so at least you can hang out there and have some barbecue and then
Yeah,
just
yeah.
start building from there with a hammock or two. But the farming, how
Mhm,
nice. I mean, it's a really great way to connect
mhm.
and it's very therapeutic. What are you growing out there on your farm? What are you getting?
Yeah, yeah. We got. I mean, fruits grow amazing. So I mean, mangoes and lumia, these longan fruits. That's actually the orchard that we bought. Now we're converting it. I took a lot of those trees out and kind of planted some jungle trees. So I've also got it more of a canopy. While none of my neighbors, we literally live in the orchards. And there's a village close by, but
It's
all my
amazing.
neighbors are orchards, but all kinds of fruit trees. We yeah we got. I mean, we got coconuts and guavas. A lot of them. It's interesting. A lot of the I think it was the Portuguese, uh, a lot of Portuguese came from South America, and Thai don't even know that a lot of the fruits here that are near native, like papayas, actually came from South America, but they've been here for hundreds of years, like 400 or 500 years. The colonists were planting them here, and they flourished, and they've become part of the a staple food. Same with limes, or maybe those came from more India or something. So yeah, yeah, a lot of fruit, the regular vegetables. I mean, we can get watermelons and eggplants, some of the nightshades and tomatoes and chilies and
How's your diet, my man? You seem very healthy. You feeling good?
yeah, yeah. I mean, definitely. Yeah, I'm kind of a prepper. I was almost I didn't want
Okay.
a nuclear war to occur, but I was kind of like I'm ready for this shit when this
When it hits the
Iran stuff is
fan.
popping off. I'd like to believe that I could withstand a complete like not I don't think we're gonna get attacked in Chiang Mai, but if there were like supply lines cut off and no electricity, which is something that could happen, I think I could survive. Yeah.
I'm sure you could.
Mhm.
Let's just hope it never comes to that.
Exactly. Yeah.
But as I say, there's nothing wrong with growing your own food. We just got some chickens here, so we get the
Mhm.
eggs, and they're wonderful company. But as I say, there's nothing wrong with getting back to nature and putting your feet on the ground in the grass
Yeah.
and really just getting in there. And so, no, I love it. Maybe it's because we're getting older, but I see something that's very productive
Mhm.
in regards to farming in so many ways.
Yeah. What do you? I mean, I mean, Costa Rica. I've never. Yeah, I've never been to South America. I've been pretty deep. One of my fights were in like Agua Calientes, Mexico, so that's like kind of deep. I crossed the border. I'm from California, so we went to Tijuana and stuff. That's not real Mexico,
Come on, that counts. You have to
but yeah, yeah. What's it
go
like
for the
there?
donkey show.
Yeah, oh yeah, got those. Yeah, Thailand's a ping pong show, but yeah, uh,
Oh, God.
yeah,
Those were the days. Oh,
uh,
you're so funny.
yeah, yeah. I mean, what is it like that? Then the nature. I visualize plush jungles. I think you mentioned it. Sometimes one of your, if it's not pinball, it's going for a walk in the jungle.
My man, we have one of the blue zones in the world.
Yeah.
It's
Oh,
Ocoyo, where they claim that, they're the happiest. And
yeah,
so
and
we have a
live long.
Caribbean and a Pacific side.
Uh-huh.
And the Caribbean side's got amazing
Okay.
influence from Jamaica and Dom Rep. And so it's got a great Caribbean feel to it. And the Pacific side has Guanacaste, which all the fancy hotels, they have some of the best surfing in the world in
Okay.
Malpais, right around that area,
Hmm.
or Dominical. So they have a lot of international surfing events here.
Okay.
But I tell you, when you get out into that rainforest, we really are known for ecotourism, natural
Okay.
hot springs, volcanoes,
Oh yeah.
zip lining. You can do the river rafting. But
Hmm.
when it comes to diet, sure, the exotic fruit, and on the weekends you have La Feria, where they have the farmers market. And so
Okay.
for next to nothing, you're buying the freshest of fresh. And it's almost more difficult to eat fast food than it is to eat well here. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
um, people come here for multiple reasons. The expression in Costa Rica is pura vida, which means pure life. And so they come to lose themselves and find themselves and maybe get
Yeah.
a little bit healthier and happier.
Yeah. I mean, what did the piece of you have to die when you made that thing? And then, I mean, obviously, what has come alive is different. What part did you give up? And was it? I mean, was it
No,
willingly? Willingly?
growing up, I surrounded myself. I grew up with some amazing young men and women that were very determined.
Mhm.
I mean, I started off at a private school till seventh grade, and then they asked me to leave. So I finished up at public school. But my
Okay.
point being is, I always felt, as I mentioned, there was a box or a school uniform, and everyone just striving. And it's great to do well in academics, but I always felt like it wasn't the natural way. You really couldn't really find yourself and judge yourself at such
Mhm.
a young age.
Yeah.
And if you happen not to have the discipline or the inspiration,
Mhm.
you can be misguided or even mislabeled
Mhm.
at that age. And so it took until college for me to study Spanish as my major and communication as a minor, and you couldn't spin that. I mean, your parents are paying for it and you don't want to fail out.
Yeah.
And there's no one really there to help you. You kind of sink or swim. And so I needed to find it where it was stimulating because sitting down and studying was a chore and it was boring and I'd get tired. And so, um, you meet with people for groups or the smart kid would give you their notes. But
Mhm.
I realized that if I read the notes into a recording device and used my Walkman. You remember
Oh
we're
yeah.
talking
Oh
about the
yeah.
late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And so I would listen to my reading of my notes when I was hitting the gym or
Okay.
cleaning up the house. So I was double gunning.
Yeah.
And if I could repeat that stupid thing five, six, seven times, I might remember it for the
Yeah.
test.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it wasn't just flashcards. I know what I needed to do. Oh, here's the secret. They used to make me read Shakespeare
Yeah.
or do certain, and
Oh.
they didn't have the cliff notes for it.
Oh yeah.
I'd just go rent the movie from one of the indie
Yeah.
movie shops down in
Yeah.
Tucson. I would watch that movie.
Yeah.
I'd do great. And so, as I say, you might not be a traditional learner. You might
Mhm.
like to play with clay and paint
Yeah.
instead of reading. And so I think that a lot of teachers don't go around and ask which of your five senses relate the most. And if it's
Mhm.
that way visually, watch the movie. If you read it, then read the book. I don't care as long as you learn. And
Mhm.
so I almost had to find ways outside of the traditional learning for me to learn in order to pass some of these exams. It was just one of those certain things. But I tell you what, moving here and with Spanish, it's the kind of thing that just snowballs where you just keep adding to it and it just keeps growing like you with living in Thailand. It just doesn't end.
Mhm.
It's how stimulating, isn't it? Where you're out of California and every day is fresh and new and you
Oh
have
yeah.
to stay on your toes,
Oh
and
yeah.
I mean you
Yeah.
got the fighting experience. I just got a smile. You can protect yourself. But what a beautiful way to live life, my man, where every day feels like a Saturday.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. Yeah, actually, Saturdays are my busiest days. I teach my income is from teaching Chinese students. I teach English online, and so that's
Ah,
their day off. Man, they work so hard. I mean, that their parents just line them up. Though they've got a really strict meritocracy system for their education system that like they've got all these benchmarks like get into, and they're so big. Their cities are massive cities, so there's so many middle. I mean, even they're testing to get into which like kindergarten they get into, and that like
that's
sets
right.
them on this track. So they're overworked, and some of them, man, I feel bad, but I try to be their best, the best extra lesson that they have because they're just back to back. They'll have a lesson before me, a lesson after me. Their Saturdays are just filled up because that's their day off, and then I'm just one lesson in there. But I try to bring something that's I try to make it their best lesson, to get through the day. Yeah, I mean, uh, uh, so yeah, yeah, Saturdays. But yeah, I know what you mean. So those are my Saturdays.
How
But
old are most of your students? What
uh,
age are they?
most of them are teenagers. Yeah, I used to work for a company, and that was really difficult. They'd give me the young kids because those are the ones that are and you have to be really animated, and you're just like apple, or something like that. Luckily, actually, during the this double reduction act where the government came in and they wanted everybody on an even playing field, like a true meritocracy. They didn't want the rich people having the opportunity to pay for extra lessons, so they cut all the companies that were working with native English speakers. But luckily, I had some WeChat information of some of the parents of the students, and they reached out to me, so I kind of just started teaching directly with them, and I only accept students who can have a conversation. So they're mostly I have a couple like 8 or 9 year olds that are just fucking phenomenal, man. But most of them
Right?
are I'm kind of helping them prepare for like entrance exams for university,
Oh,
um,
wonderful.
and stuff. So they're like 12 to 17, I would say is the most of them. Yeah.
Would you say that pound for pound, the students in the United States can compete with those 9 to 17-year-olds that you're teaching?
No,
Not even
honestly,
close.
no, honestly,
First, they're
no.
bilingual. I'm not saying people aren't in the States are bilingual. How's their English, though?
That's what
Intermediate,
it's about.
advanced levels?
Yeah, I have students taking the SATs. He was pissed that he got like 1410. He wants 1600. Like I'm like, wow,
What did you get on your
I got
SATs? You remember?
1310, which was pretty good. That's what
Man,
I'm
I
saying.
can't
Like
tell you
I'm
mine.
actually I've always kind of bragged about that, and
You're a
he,
smart
he
boy.
he's yeah. Now again, I do know that I don't have a good assessment. I think I do have the cream of the crop.
Okay.
So I don't know all Chinese students are this good. The ones
You
that are
can
reaching out
tell,
to me,
though. You can say, I mean,
but
you know
yeah,
if a 17-year-old's got his act together.
yeah, my students are yeah, they're top of the line. I mean, they're amazing in
That's
every
great.
area, and some of them, yeah, they're I mean they get Chinese is their hardest subject. Most of them, like everybody gets all A's, and but they might get a B in Chinese. So I know that they're really strict on making sure that they know their Chinese, their Chinese history. They're always talking about, like we talk about Shakespeare. They have these ancient poets that they have to like read, and I mean it's an amazing culture and language and history. I've learned so much, and it's yeah, they're definitely a powerhouse in just in the academics fields that they're coming up. It's
What can you suggest to our US students? What do you
yeah.
think could give them the inspiration? What sort of advice?
I'd say, you know what, a genuine interest in other cultures. That's what that like my Chinese students are, they like English. They like learning about it, whether they're learning it to become a spy or to integrate into American culture someday. And a lot of them want to study in America. And again, it feels like they're interested, like they care. I don't think Americans, again, I've been out of the country for 13 years. So it's almost a
Mm,
whole different generation. So I
that's
don't
right.
know exactly, but when I was there wasn't, nobody learned other languages. I minored in Japanese and I studied abroad there. And then
Mm,
language and culture was, I've always been interested in and fascinated with
oh
other
yeah.
cultures. And America, I mean, I have a mixed feeling. In one way, you can say America is very young. It's only a couple hundred years old. At the same time, it's kind of the culmination of ancient Greek philosophy and Roman law, and some Christian values and stuff. So I mean, I don't think it's fair to say America has no rich history. It is rich in a lot of ways, but it's just one branch of humanity, and there's these other, this Indus Valley, I mean, when I'm learning about the Yellow River civilizations in China, like they were completely independent of Mesopotamia and Egyptian and Greek and everything, and it's fascinating. So I think just a true, I don't know if you can foster that, but a genuine interest in other people and other cultures, in yeah.
A lot of it's how you're raised. If you're in this little bubble
Hmm.
and all you know is what you know, and
Hmm.
nothing else matters. And so, yeah, I hear you on something like that. And there's nothing better than that first impression, even if you're Japanese or Chinese or whatever language you're speaking is not perfect. I have a very strong Philadelphia accent when I speak Spanish, but I put attention to my grammar and vocabulary.
Yeah.
And at least it gives the second glance and the consideration, hey, this kid, is going the extra mile
Yeah.
to make that effort. And so it's not only opened many doors, it's given me many invitations for dinners and introductions. And so it's very nice that way. It's, as I say before, it's something you can't spin and you're not angling in there or asking for anything. You're just showing the merit of yourself and what you've done. And people can notice this. That's why, um, as I say, when I'm bringing somebody in that's bilingual, I do respect the fact that they did put in this time. And
Mhm.
it's my job, as I say, just to add to what they're bringing to the table. And I try to do it in a fun way. You're mentioning our ages in the '80s movies. Well,
Yeah.
some of my influences growing up was Dirk Benedict, who was Templeton Peck from the A Team,
Yeah.
and I liked Pierce Brosnan as Remington Steele.
Remington Steele. Yeah.
And so, what would I do? I would watch these shows on VHS tapes.
Yeah.
And besides Mr. T throwing people through windows and beating everyone up who you loved, I would literally rewind the face man scenes and I would study the rhetoric, the delivery, the pregnant pauses, the body language.
Yeah.
Why? Because that's my sensei. I knew that if I learned this stuff, I might be able to sell, make myself marketable.
Yeah.
Little did I know, train 10,000 people how to make phone calls. And your influence has to come from somewhere. You have to borrow the art. It's like the paintbrush and the paint and the canvas. I didn't create that, but I can use that medium or that influence, that instruction and mentorship
Hmm.
into my own. And I think that's a wonderful thing. It's passing that light of the candle, the fire. And I think that's very important if someone has influenced you in that sort of way.
So where I know you the story you tell kind of is somewhat rebellion, but I don't think it was intentional rebellion. But your family obviously wanted something else for you. So I mean, and we talk about the vision quest. You kind of had to forge your own way. So
Hmm.
who was your influence? Was it an actual person, or were you is an ideology, or what where did you get that in
Well, you
influence?
can always click your heels, go home and work at a family real estate business. It was handed to me. It was waiting for me.
Uh,
And that's fine. But as I say, I wanted to grow my own hair on my chest. I wanted to be a man. Who was the influence? It was the dreamer and the adventurer. It was the one that was out of their element, like a Tarzan,
mhm.
that still knew how to jump the vines and survive. And so I always loved the long shot and the one that would explore. Like, remember Scooby Doo? It
Mhm.
was always fun because they were going into the caves and into
Yeah.
the haunted houses when most people be afraid. And so you know that by doing something that most people didn't do, a very good chance is that fortune will favor the brave.
Yeah.
And stepping in the ring like you do professionally with your fighting, moving to other countries, these are realistic and safe challenges. These are things that aren't make or breaks.
Yeah.
And you could always go back to California. There's 1,000 people there that will embrace you
Yeah.
and set you up and get you ready. And that's fine. And
Yeah.
you have that like I do. But um, you wouldn't be able to look at yourself in the mirror
Sure.
and knowing that you're on the right path. And so maybe it's Hollywood and the stories and the books and the fables, but I always did believe in adventure.
Yeah.
I always felt that we needed to see what we were made of. I was never in the military. You, sir, actually compete professionally with fighting. So, I mean, that's a different thing altogether. But in my own way, when I've been able to stand up and stand tall with a strong back and shoulders there and chest out,
Mm.
I've put my name down and I've seen my worth.
Yeah.
And you only live 100 years, and you know this. And so, any time in your life that you really get a chance to test yourself, where it's not even the money,
Mhm.
it's not even the pride, it's just to know if it's true that this is exactly where you need it to be.
Mhm.
You might never give yourself that chance. And then you wake up in the morning, you're like, I had the best dream. What was it? Well, CD and I we're traveling the world and we're kicking ass and taking names. And then you realize you got to go back to your job at the used car lot
Uh-huh.
in Buckstown, Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
figure out what's going on a rainy December day. And so I just didn't want that sort of life. It was weird, but it also is the sort of thing, looking back at it, the sort of decisions I made obviously
Was
needed to be done. Yes.
decent. Yeah, absolutely. There's a. What about now when you talk to people? What kind of reaction the ones who I don't know if it was doubt they were doubting you or just kind of like did they I don't know if they actually thought you couldn't do it or they just thought it was a poor even if you could do it wouldn't be something that was worthy of your being, but obviously they have to admit now, or are they still questioning it, or are they in awe? Are they envy? Or
I get two things.
Mhm.
When we're at the reunions and cocktail parties, I'll get the whisper on the side, yo, man, I wish I took my chance. Not
Okay,
starting a call center in Costa Rica, but they wish
yeah, yeah,
they
yeah, yeah, yeah,
tried that second life. And then I get the what ifs. Hey, man, if you stayed in Philadelphia, you
okay,
would have been living on doing this and doing this and doing
yeah,
this. I'm like, I know. I mean, it's like,
yeah,
it's that different life if you had chosen it, and you would have succeeded that way too. But as I say before, I wanted to start from zero.
hmm
I wanted to see what it was like. You want to know the first car I drove down here? Don't tell anybody, you and your audience, but I drove a 1993 Yugo GVX. Do you remember Yugos?
you goes, yeah, you go nowhere. I remember, yeah,
The GVX, the great extra value. And so,
yeah,
man, I bought that car for $200.
yeah,
And it did have second gear. I had to go from first to third, but that's not
yeah,
the point. The point being is I wanted to drive a
yeah,
Yugo. I
yeah,
wanted to start from scratch. I
yeah,
wanted just, the car didn't last long, of course, but
yeah,
it was seeing what you can do when you are your first brick and you
hmm
can get past that reef on that island and
yeah,
get out of that and to
yeah,
see, because then all the world is there as the stage. Is it
yeah,
frightening for those that don't have guts?
hmm
But it's exhilarating. Like in Shawshank Redemption, when he
hmm
finally got out of that pipe of crap, and he's
yeah,
in there with the rain, which is very purifying, and puts his arms out. Oh, I
yeah,
related to that 1,000%. Each one of us had to crawl through that in order to get free. And so
yeah,
my friends with the envy, well, they love Costa Rica when it's cold. And I never, as my parents said, you never count somebody's money. And a lot of times people can overextend themselves or just put on a mask. And
yeah,
I don't care how they live or where they live. I just want to make sure they're happy and healthy.
hmm
And so when they listen to me and I talk about not my trip to Greece or a Rolex watch
hmm
or my brand new car or something like that. Man, I'm driving a 1991 Cabriolet Volkswagen. Remember those cars from the 80s? I
hmm
love that ride.
yeah,
And I got a second car just in case, but that's my main ride. And it's just, you see the richest people in the world wear ripped jeans and t-shirts. They don't need to wear three-piece Armanis.
yeah, yeah,
And so they could see that I'm exceptionally true to myself in regards to my tastes and my life, because it's outside of what we're all used to. And
hmm
so the envy, as I say before, people say to me they wish they did. They
hmm
wish they toured Europe when they graduated college, let's just say, or they
yeah,
took up painting or some sort of ballroom dancing. I don't know, but
yeah,
it's always tomorrow, or a half-assed attempt, and they just never really go for it.
yeah,
And so that's usually what I hear.
yeah, yeah. Uh, I heard you mention that like your first sales closing the first deal was like better than all any other achievement that you had or I mean why is that?
Do you remember the movie Quest for Fire?
No.
Ray Dong Chung was in that. She looked great.
Oh
Anyway,
yeah.
my point being is, back in the day, you had
Uh-huh.
people that had fire, but then if it went out, they didn't know what to do unless they lightning struck a tree again and they could get it. Well, some people knew how to produce the fire. And so that first account that I got, that was the spark. I couldn't
hmm
believe it. Actually
Yeah.
did it. It's
Yeah.
almost like if you're thirsty and you all of a sudden you find an oasis in the desert. I tell you what, if you see something like panning for gold All you need is that first flake. And if you know you got the flake, just break your back, you'll get your ounces. And I said, man, this thing actually is producing
Yeah.
and I can do this. And I created something from nothing. I go, this is magic.
Yeah.
How interesting. And so I was going with the gods and the stars were aligned. And I realized, let's hold on and see how far this trip can take me. And
Yeah.
even if I closed that one deal, which was one seat for 50 hours, just 1 week's worth of work, I wouldn't accept that today, of course, but that was the greatest thing ever. Thank you,
Yeah.
my man Rob, for hooking me up if you're listening. And so
Yeah.
that's all I needed. That
Yeah.
was the genesis. That was the beginning.
W
And
was that before or after? I mean, you talk about your trip to Costa Rica to help out a
oh,
friend.
yeah, I was there at my buddy's center for 4 years. I learned the business from the inside out. I was only supposed to be there for 2 months, but I kind of fell in love with it. My friend Joey says, you want to stay? And I said, yes, I do. And so it was kind of interesting, kind of like graduate school. I learned
Yeah.
retention, customer support, onboarding, human resources, labor laws. That's great experience. I didn't waste my time.
Yeah.
And so in my mid 30s, when it was my time to start my company, I
Mm.
created a website in October of 2007. February 6th of 2008, I landed that first account. And I
Wow.
was renting a turnkey station at a blended call center. It's like an internet cafe.
Hmm.
And a turnkey station had the computer, the headset, everything, but it just wasn't mine. It's just
Yeah.
renting a
Yeah.
station at a time. The guy bathroom coffee and the lights were on. And so it wasn't glamorous. I was sharing space. But I did that for 2 years where I had enough capital and enough stable clients. So then I rented space for about 6 years. I did it responsibly. I acted my wage and paced. And in this industry, there are import taxes for electronics and cars, about 80%. It's expensive.
Oh, okay.
But when you're buying it used, you're getting it for a fraction of the cost. And so when companies would go out of business, I'd scoop up a dozen computers, a couple chairs, some desks. And so, like Monopoly, I'm building out row by row.
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
that for 6 years, responsible, build out the server room with the
Hmm.
switches and the batteries and the servers,
Hmm.
you name it. And so a couple of years ago, right before COVID, we purchased a building, put on a third floor, and just like our taste, I love Art Deco with neon lights and marquees. And so I made it a beautiful building. And it's in Barrio Aranjuez, which is right by the third largest hospital in the country, all the universities, the aduanas, which is the custom area, the train. It's a
Uh-huh.
beautiful area
Yeah.
of town. And
Yeah.
so most of the agents can walk there, and that's one of the attractive features. And so, what a long journey to
Yeah.
create something like this. So your audience might think that things happen overnight, and it happens to some people that get lucky.
Yeah.
But you and I, my brother, sometimes we got to grind it out. A
Yeah.
fight doesn't last 30 seconds. Sometimes you got to go round for round with some people. They'll give you a run for your money. And so for me, my business was fighting for every first down. These
Hmm.
weren't long run touchdowns. And I can't say just the strong survive, but I said it earlier, if you don't have the fidelity and you don't have a base foundation of why you're doing this, it's not going to withstand the hits.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
seaworthy.
Yeah.
And so that's my only advice to your younger audience that decides to embark in any sort of business. You got to prepare for
Hmm.
for the long haul on this. It's the long game.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like John John McClane, diehard. Calm and calm amid chaos.
Sometimes, but I
I,
still have my FU Philly moments. You
oh,
don't want to be around me
okay.
then. like like the Tasmanian devil.
All
Not
right.
that day.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, there's also there's I like it. I like the balance I pick up from you of these I know you mentioned like vulnerability was is actually a power. You turning a gatekeeper into your yeah,
Ooh,
how do you
the
make that?
positive
Yeah,
escalation.
yeah.
Yeah.
How do you yeah, how can you turn vulnerability into your power and turn a gatekeeper into your or a villain into your uh working with them, bring them onto your team and kind of like take the energy. I mean, I can feel it here present, just this energy. You have a way of kind of molding the energy in the room, maybe.
You can adjust tones. Listen, Grasshopper, why don't I give your class a 101 course on an introduction takedown? Is this cool? When we would prospect companies and they would pick up the phone, we would do a company name spike. The Mental Breakthrough Podcast, how are you today? And then all of a sudden, let's just say your secretary, Judy, answers the phone. Yeah, hi, this is Judy. And I'd say, hey, Judy, this is Richard. And then I would wait for the positive reinforcement. She'd go, who is Richard? And then I'd use a buffer boomerang technique. Judy, that's an excellent question. I'm the owner of Costa Rica's Call Center. You do a name drop. You let them know it's a great question. Repeat the question, readjust the tone, and send it back. Usually do it twice when they ask your name and your company. And then prior to that transfer, you'll let them know that they've been exceptionally professional. And when you get transferred, you're going to let Dr. CD know this. And so when I do get the pass the pitch and get transferred, that's a positive escalation. I'm going to do it verbally when you pick up the phone. Hey, this is Doctor. Doc, I just got to let you know Judy's great. It reduces your ego defense. You'll probably give me a positive reinforcement and go, who is this? Compared to how'd you get my name? Take me off your list. Is this a sales call? F you. So what are we doing? We're jumping clouds. What else are we doing? Just like you, when you've won or lost a fight, it's a romantic death. At least I do a company name spike, two buffer boomerangs, and a positive escalation. It's a beautiful first 30 seconds of a phone call and allows somebody to set a rhythm and to get going. And listen, if I send you a meeting minutes from our phone call and I mention Judy in it in writing, first, out of 1,000 men that have called your company, how many people actually mention your assistant verbally and in writing? Nobody. I'm the only one. And that's prior to any sort of contract. It shows how I treat you. So let's say when I marinate lists, have you in the pipeline, got to call you back next Thursday. Judy answers the phone. That's a breakthrough. How are you today? Is this Richard Blank? Judy, how are you? Because I just got to let you know, Dr. CD told me what you said about me and what you wrote about me. I've been here 15 years. No one has ever done that before. Listen, by the way, his anniversary is coming up here. He loves karate, lives in Thailand. Just let
Yeah.
him know these sort of things. And it's like, they just give you the goodies and make nice. And a lot of them are undercover bosses. How do I know that could be your wife or your business associate? Or let's just say you're confident of 15 years. Where at the end of the day, if you need to choose 5 contracts in the Philippines and India is a couple dollars cheaper than me, you might still choose me on merit and the sort of way that I do business, because I might be able to offset that cost and
Yeah.
just that sort of soft skills and relationship building that we have. Sorry about my dog. That's Scrappy Doo Magoo making her cameo.
Right. That's I've actually heard you mention that buffer boomerang several times. I'm interested in this. Like I have this psychology background, but it's almost it's academic. It's less you bring something that I admire and there's like a lived experience of communication that I have to admit I don't have, and it's part of the reason this podcast I'm doing it is because during my dissertation I realized how terrible of a listener I was, and I
Mm.
didn't realize that until I'm doing this thematic coding of my interviews, and I have to listen to myself interview, and I actually video interviewed, so I'm looking at them, and I thought it went well because I prepared all my questions, and then I'm just like, wow, I wasn't listening to them. Oh, like I totally see. I saw all these moments of like where we were at different places, and I was just going through this routine, and I'm thinking like I realized it was humbling, but it was also just it was cringe to watch myself carry this off. So obviously you have skills, interviewing skills, communication skills that I don't have.
Brother,
I
if you
mean, I
do
guess you
this
could.
10,000 times, of course you're going to get better at it, just like you with your punches and kicks. Listen, my only suggestion for you,
Yeah.
you're starting on the horizontal, right? You got all these questions.
Uh-huh.
Once you get a good question, take it vertical.
Yeah.
Just start asking open-ended questions. It's
Yeah.
make camp.
Hmm.
I don't need to go through D, E, and F. Come on, slow down.
Yeah.
It's the sort of thing people are speaking twice as fast and they think they should. grab the tail. Go out. So yeah, ABC, wonderful. Oh, 1, 2, 3. I mean, repeat some of the last things that people say to ensure
Yeah.
that you have been listening.
Sure.
So A, they don't repeat it, and B, you can almost put it to bed.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to show depth, sometimes like my dog barking in the background, a lot of the sales calls, people are at home. So I would immediately use the Me Too technique. It's good. It's a good anchor. You go, hey doc, I love dogs. You're like, yeah, me too. I go, what's the name of your dog? His name is Scrappy. Really? What kind of dog is it? It's a Maltese. And how old's your puppy? Oh, about 10 years old. Okay, great. Instead of just saying, oh, I love dogs. Yeah, me too. So anyway, I'm trying to sell you something. No, stop selling them something.
Yeah.
Why? Because
Yeah.
no one else talks about Scrappy Doo. And so the next time you call back, you mention it. And so I've realized too, as I say, go vertical, start asking open-ended questions. And
Yeah.
you even said earlier that I was able to answer some of your questions you had just in my conversation. That's beautiful. That's your technique. And so you're shaving.
Hmm.
And that's a great way to reduce talk time and conversion ratios go up. And so you're listening. Well, we have 30-second attention spans, and most people are boring and they're not animated or they repeat the same things. And so you might need to be the rudder of their ship. Doesn't mean they're stepping on your toes and leading the dance. I didn't say that.
Hmm.
But that little rudder can move any ship
Yeah.
any way you want. And so sometimes you need to interject at the right time, match their pacing so you can get in there quick, pull back, and reassure. And so the fact that you're listening to yourself, that's the greatest form of education, self-analysis for
Yeah.
self-improvement. And so
Hmm.
we do have KPIs, key performance indicators. We do judge you on the questioning, on the name drops,
Hmm.
on the qualification questions. But no, you and I, we're aces. We look for the soft skills. I know what you're thinking. You go, man, I should have said Richard's name there. Or I should have said, you know what? That's great after I mentioned something. Or maybe changing the tone if it becomes somber or serious, or that's fine. Like you with your fighting, you need to react. You don't have time to act. Hmm?
Hmm.
And so a lot of it is the now. And so, my brother, if you're feeling something in that moment, in that conversation, drop everything else and build that,
Yeah.
as you say, building. Because sabes una cosa, you could almost at one time find exactly what you need, and you don't even talk about the rest.
Hmm.
You know, it's so funny about these sales calls. Most people, yeah, they got to share information about a company, but no one's going to give you the body and the conclusion if you don't land the intro. They're so set on explaining their product that they don't stop and take a step back for a second and realize this incredible man moved to Thailand, speaks multiple languages, professional, martial arts, and just an all around great guy and a farmer. I mean, who does these things? And that could be the one thing that gets, damn it, that's the thing that got me on your podcast. Think about it. You got all these people that are trying to get on there and to meet you and to share time with you. And I made the cut because I was raw and I was real. And then we get into the meat and potatoes on your show. But who's got the time prior to that? I had one deep breath to make my point, and it hit home.
Yeah.
And so that to me is something that it's almost like telling the truth, Doc,
Yeah.
where you can just tell the same story over and over again, even 10 years from now. You don't have to remember facts or lines.
Yeah. Yeah. That's, I mean, how is it? How's it? What's different? What's different when you're having a conversation in sales and you're talking to me on this podcast, or you're just chatting up with somebody? It definitely enhances your communication skills. Um, but but is there any is it feels like wizardry almost. Uh, I,
Well, look at us right now. We're chilling. And it's your morning, my late night. We're hanging out. You asked me prior, do you have a time restraint? If I'm catching somebody at 2 o'clock on a Thursday, I'm usually calling them at work. There's a sense of urgency. He's before and after something that is distracting him. It's a
yeah,
lot different than you and I hanging out right now during this Zen time. Hmm?
yeah, yeah,
Okay, so I mean, think of that sort of waves. And then again, you know, I've always tried to snap people out of that trance that they're in. It's not fair for them to judge me on what the person did prior to my phone call. They might have been disrespectful and didn't understand parameters, or as you say, have bad listening skills if, from time to time. And I think everyone deserves a straight shot at it. And so for me, the carnival barker, to come into the tent to see
Mhm.
the freak show. To remember that movie Freaks back in the day, that was great.
Yeah.
And I always admired the carnival, the old carnivals back in the day. I mean, they really sold adventure and fantasy and life, and they
Yeah.
really were larger than life to participate and get in there. And that's all you got. It's people are looking at their phones and their shiny objects and distractions. If I could possibly give them a fresh scent,
Yeah.
or all of a sudden black and white to color,
Hmm.
or from fuzzy to clear,
Hmm.
and I only get one shot at it. So my suggestion is, what do you know most? You know most is the name of your podcast. That's number one. And if I can give you the honor first, like in golf, you can start off and I'll give you a mulligan. You can play first. I let you share you first and be your biggest fan first. And after you realize that I'm non-threatening and I'm harmless, I might be interesting enough for you to reciprocate and ask me certain questions. And so that is what I've seen. And I can't take things personal.
Hmm.
I don't know them. I could be calling the day that their dog ran away or they got their brand new puppy. But as I mentioned before, I see it as jumping clouds. I see it as an art of speech.
Yeah.
I see it as it's almost like if you've ever seen these videos where people don't notice who a celebrity is. Not saying they should know the latest trends, but
Yeah.
it's very sweet and kind when an older person is sitting next to a top athlete or a top entertainer.
Yeah.
And it's almost refreshing for them because they're like, hey, how are you? Hey, how are you? Who are
Yeah.
you? Well, this is me. And they give a first name. They still don't know.
Yeah.
And I think that's wonderful because it's a baby's innocence.
Yeah.
And it's still people are surrounded by plastic and
Hmm.
this false way of seeing things that if, as I say before, some of the best conversations you have, Doc, is with a stranger,
Hmm.
because there's no repercussion. You're not being judged. That's
Yeah.
why sometimes people go to a confession or they'll cry their eyes out to a stranger on a train or to a bartender in that
Yeah.
town because they need to get it out and someone is there and they realize it's the right time. And I'm a strong man, but there have been in certain moments of my life where I felt lost. And maybe I've reached out or people have reached out to me where they say, hey, champ, you all right today?
Hmm.
And I don't even know this individual. And just by taking the time and speaking, we were strangers. And 20 minutes later, before leaving, there's a hug and a wishing well and thank you.
Yeah.
And I didn't know this individual prior. And so, um, as I say, if you see somebody that is hurting or confused, it's not about giving clarity, but maybe just someone might need to let off steam or to reset or rebalance themselves.
Hmm.
And I feel bad for some people because if they're answering the phone in a certain way, they must hate what they do or they hate their job or
Yeah.
it's not a very good first impression. So sometimes by me being super sunshine, hey, mental breakthrough, how are you today? I'm reminding you
Yeah.
to step up your game a little bit because I just said the name of your company better than you did.
Yeah.
So most of the time, I'm like, who is this Mr. Sunshine? I use my anonymity.
Uh-huh.
I could be, CD's best friend calling. And so I I don't get that traditional response, or as you say, the gatekeeper. Usually I try to make somebody's day. And I tell you what, like you've done today, if you do the due diligence
Hmm.
and you just read about somebody for a minute, Makes all the difference in the world. You're talking about the buffer boomerang and the positive escalations in pinball. It makes me feel good. You actually care. So, just that little bit,
Yeah.
especially someone that's put their time and effort into building a business,
Yeah.
a farm, students. It's not that acknowledgement for the pat on the back. You just want to make sure that you've contributed and you made this world a little bit of a better place.
Yeah. And as a leader, I know you're leading like these people. I know you mentioned doing the like coming of age question in the hiring process, or you say it's better than the resume. Or because you can kind of learn something about somebody and then bring it up. I just imagine how you're you must be the mentor and the inspiration for so many people. Is there anybody that's actually left you? I think a lot of people stay with you because they like it, but at the same time, there probably are some other maybe entrepreneurs that broke away just to do their own thing. But did they come back and thank you or tell you their stories, and how does that make you feel if so? Like,
As I said, we have a large attrition. I'll never give them the walk of shame.
yeah.
There's never a forced attrition. I'm not going to fire you unless you're smoking weed at lunch and not making your phone calls. But 20% will shake my hand. They start strong, and a
Mhm.
lot of them just, whispers and shadows and peace out after the last paycheck. But why coming of age? If you and I had to choose the real long player, the one that could make it,
Mhm.
when you get traditional answers of somebody, like I ask them a coming of age moment. I want to know if you beat up a bully or saved a kitten, and I'll get generic answers about something that
Yeah.
sounds good. But when someone talks about mastering the violin, taking care of their grandparents, learning how to cook, they went out camping for 6 months, learned how to do certain things. I'm like, that's a
Yeah.
marathon runner. That's somebody that shows outside interests aside of what they think that I want to hear. And secondly, what happens if they're on the phone with Dr. CD and you ask them a zig and a zag question? You've asked me 1 to 3 and A to Z.
Mhm.
Okay. We've gone through everything on my phone call, right? We're both qualified. And then prior to the contract, just go, Richie, tell me something else about yourself. So
Yeah.
if we're hanging out, at least I know about you enough with the business. And so I want to know if somebody can actually tell me something, have depth.
Yeah.
Where are you
Yeah.
where are you going with all of this? And I also use the psychology behind it because if you tell me you saved a kitten and kicked up bully's ass, I'm going to use that A as a nickname for you,
Yeah.
the kitten saver, and
Yeah.
talk to you on
Yeah.
a rainy Wednesday when you're depressed and the phone calls aren't doing well.
Yeah.
Um, and how about this? When you happen to bring your parents to pick you up or your significant other, I'll definitely go outside.
Oh.
I'll let them know how great Dr. CD's doing. And I'm not just, he's a good kid. He's the champ and the chief. No,
Yeah.
my man did 44 sales the other day, and he's the only one that shows up 15 minutes early before every shift. Everyone loves him. He's really in line to be our next leader here. Why? It's not from my promotion. It's from the proletariat. It's from the people. They see that you're the cream.
Yeah.
You stepped up, and I love those sort of things. And it's usually the young kid. It's the squire to the knight. It's the one without the bad habit. And that was their
Yeah.
first job. You know how they are with that, and they really want to try. And so
Yeah.
I love molding
Yeah.
this younger generation because I can really have them skip some steps and really teach them what to do. And I guess that gets me the most excited.
Yeah. What about the cultural barrier, cultural type of things? I know Philly's rough, and maybe just the I mean, I'm assuming Costa Rica is more of a traditional culture, or um do you have to did you ever do anything wrong, or learn something like I've got a lot. I mean, in Thailand it's just making the wrong
Well,
call that I thought was good. And
I didn't grow up on Broad Street. I was from Northeast Philadelphia at a beautiful place called Abington, my proud alma mater. But I tell you what, if you and I are out in Boys Town at 2 in the morning, licking our thumbs and counting hundies, we're probably going to get our ass kicked, or at least so they're going to try.
Yeah.
Um, you look for danger, it's going to find you.
Hmm.
And there are a lot of people down here that take unnecessary chances, or they just believe that they are so far away from their home they can let loose, which is fine to a certain extent. But realize this, and you know this firsthand, we're guests in another country.
Hmm.
And so once again, we're very fortunate to be here.
Yeah.
Have I ever gotten myself in trouble down here? How about this? I've avoided trouble. For the most part, I will speak Spanish, but there are certain times I'll hold back on my Spanish to see if these guys here are setting me up or saying something about me.
Oh
Not
yeah,
all the
yeah, yeah,
time,
yeah,
but sometimes. I just want to make
yeah,
sure that things are safe and I'm doing the right things. And I've also had individuals be my intermedio, my middleman. So instead of
yeah,
going out and paying triple for something, I'll have somebody get me the good price,
yeah,
or they know how to relate to the right people in the right situations. And nothing's ever been physical, but I think the only trouble that I've gotten myself in is I've extended way too much confidence and trust in people that took advantage of me. And that's a shame because my only weakness is seeing the best in people.
yeah.
And unfortunately, I had to learn the hard way, which makes you kind of jaded and
Mm.
you lose your innocence.
Hmm.
But come on, man. I mean, that's just part of life. I
Yeah.
mean,
It,
what
and
do I
what's the
expect
alternative
this?
really is to not, how many opportunities would you lose if you didn't sometimes just, you got to put trust in people, I guess.
But let me ask you a question. Growing up, I mean, there were certain neighborhoods that didn't lock their doors and you could leave your bike on the front yard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. And so now I understand why you put bikes in garages and you have locks.
Hmm.
It's not again, it's like the sign in the store. Shoplifters will be prosecuted. You're not talking about me in the dock. They're talking about the one guy that's stealing sneakers or something. And so
Yeah.
I can't take it personal, but I have to put myself in their shoes. And I understand these sort of things now. But it only makes me appreciate the honest people that much more. But it also keeps me on my toes and makes sure that I'm protected.
Yeah.
I hope that answered your question in a diplomatic way.
Absolutely, it does. Uh, do you find yourself I, there's I think Costa Rica's got an expat community. Do you identify with expats? I sometimes have a difficulty with other expats. It's like I almost look at them with contempt, and that makes me reflect on myself. Like who am I to think ill of these people? And that I don't know, but sometimes I don't like it. I don't know what it's like there in or for you in
I've met a lot of great people, and I've also met some people where they say, listen, Costa Rica has the wanted and the unwanted. I
okay.
see people running away from things. And
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I'm one of the few down here that uses their real name, starts a legitimate company, married a beautiful local girl, the girl of my dreams,
Yeah.
and just doing it the right way where I pay my taxes.
Sure.
Um,
Sure. Okay.
but it's when I see there's two types. You see the ones that are on vacation and the ones that live here,
Uh-huh.
and you can notice the two. The guy's probably like 70 years old with a 22-year-old girlfriend
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
who's picking out new furniture.
Yeah.
So you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
what's wrong with Billy over here? And so I mean, you kind of see what goes on, but
Mhm.
you laugh at it. And but a lot of my friends are locals. One of
Mhm.
my closest friends is an old rock star, Iggy Faroki from the 70s. In fact, he produced a song with me that we actually got Gary Beers from NXS to play on
That's
as well.
fantastic. I mentioned I remember Need
Yeah,
You
that was pretty
Tonight.
cool.
I don't know. Yeah. That,
And so by meeting the locals, they show you the local things and introduce you to other really cool people. And so
yeah.
I like the blending of the two.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. That's definitely I do like my Western conveniences. We have a nice mall and some grocery stores where I can get some good peanut butters or whatever and uh and no,
It's got to be that peanut. What do you get, Jiffy? What are you
and
getting out there?
salsa and a lot of the Mexican food is difficult to get here when I first came here. I swear I created it with my mind. I was just like, dude, we need salsa, and then and it was so expensive to get salsa that was imported and
Mm.
hard to find. And then finally, somebody in Bangkok realized, like, hey, there's a lot of foreigners out here that are paying this crazy price for salsa. Like, we could make this, and they made it, and so now they actually sell this like Thai brand. It says like Mexican salsa on it and stuff, and
Oh
it's
yeah,
amazing. And of course, I can make my own too sometimes, but uh, but like these I don't know. So yeah, where is the I'm yeah, I'm trying to make that connection of how like that it's definitely exotic there, right? There's like this exotic feel, and then
definitely.
there's also there is a large expat community, and there's probably nice to have some Western
Oh
conveniences.
sure.
How like
Like
physically where
I don't
how
need an
possible.
Outback Steakhouse or a Hooters. I mean, everybody needs that kind of stuff unless you want it. But when you say exotic, yeah, just like in Thailand, I mean, you get lost. I mean, when you're
Mhm.
next to a waterfall in the middle of the
Mhm.
rainforest with the flowers
Mhm.
and the plants and the animals, I mean, it's out of a painting. I mean, there are places where you can drink the water. It's fresh,
Yeah.
it's potable, and it's just as I say, the air is so fresh. But also, just like in Thailand, you need to be careful. You can't go wandering around in slippers out in the rainforest. I mean, there are things that can bite you and pick at you and possibly
Yeah.
even kill you.
Oh yeah.
And
Yeah.
so you need to respect nature. It's
Mm.
very important. Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. That's a huge part. Yeah. We've got snakes and scorpions and centipedes that are just
Do
look
they
like
show
those
up around your house in the farm? Mine
rub.
do all the time
Oh
in my
yeah. Yeah.
house.
Yeah. The centipedes here are just like those rubber fake centipedes. This Halloween. In America, I didn't even know those were real. I thought, oh, these are ridiculous. They're that big. They're like that, and they bite, and they're the only things that bite you for no reason. They've crawled in my house and bit me when I'm sleeping. Like scorpions
Yeah.
and snakes, usually, they're only gonna attack you if they think you're attacking them. But
But the
yeah,
spiders are crazy out here. No, you
okay,
really
you've
got to
got
be careful. No, but the snakes are nuts. I mean, Cascavelli. I mean,
yeah,
as I say, I wear rubber boots when I'm out there. I have a machete
yeah,
too because I want to be cool.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah,
really those. It's really the rubber boots just in case.
yeah, yeah, yeah. No, absolutely. That's yeah,
Machete.
yeah, yeah. That's
I think
nice.
I am Indiana Jones. I mean, seriously.
But it's actually practical. I have the machete now. I notice all the I mean the growth here is just ridiculous. If you don't tend to the
Hmm.
thing, my originally what I wanted to do was I wanted to bring back the jungle because these orchards they're all like perfectly lined trees and trimmed glass. Or unfortunately, a lot of them I know use Roundup and stuff, and or
Hmm.
so all the weeds are gone. And I was like, no, I want to bring back the jungle. And I quickly realized that wow, this is out of control. Like I have to tend to this. So I'm kind of I've spent a lot of time on walkways, so I have cleared paths, and in certain areas I
Awesome.
kind of let get you know get out of control, but contained. I call it nature negotiation, where I'm not like forcing it. Sometimes my walkways will create themselves based on the way the trees grow, and
Do you
and
have
that's
water on the property?
yeah, well water. Yeah, yeah. So I can it's easy to water because we do have a dry season. We have like a
Yeah.
rainy season and then a cool rainy season where you don't really
Like
need to water
us.
it. And then
Yeah.
we've got this hot dry season that you do need to water. But yeah, I've got three wells just for convenience. There was one well when we bought the property and I was just like it was kind of a hassle. They had this irrigation system which worked well, but I didn't like the feel. It was too straight. So
Hmm.
I got three different whales that yeah, it's amazing. I paid just a couple $100 for this group of old men to just come out. They do it just old
Isn't
school
that
style.
amazing? Yeah,
Yeah,
right?
just drill in like 10 meters for one, 18 meters for another,
Yeah.
just with just their hand and hoses and
No
tools.
fear.
Yeah, and
And when you say older
amazing.
guys, they're ripped too, right? Guys in
Oh
their
yeah,
50s, like
yeah,
60s
rip,
and
yeah,
70s, they're just
yeah.
jacked, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah. One guy died like the next month, and after he did this, and they're like, oh, that was like the last group of like the those that's what they do, the well diggers, and I was and yeah, the person who kind of made me connect. They're like, oh, that yeah that team is that was like my those are like their last job. And then yeah, it's nice here. We don't know. We don't need any of those. Like, there's like no regulations or in America, I know it's so hard to build, and you need all these permits and
That's right.
licensing, or you need a licensed contractors and license, which is good. I mean, there is a safety issue here as far as like all my electricity. I've done a lot of my water, but all the electricity, they literally just go to the road, and just anybody's allowed to just kind of connect to the grid. Um,
That's what they do, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, they do put the box. I mean, we're paying for it, but
Oh yeah.
like it could be uh like uh it seems like somebody probably could steal stuff without, if they didn't, but they trust everybody. They trust that you're doing. I mean, eventually they'd see. I don't even know how it works. I mean, same with the water. Like, I was actually getting water for free, which is cheap for a while, because I didn't realize I connected it before the meter, where the meter was and stuff. And I was like, worried and stuff. So I switched it up, and you know, but it's so I guess it's funny that like people. I mean, Thailand's known for these like government or these military coups, which I think we're about to have one. We're due for one. Uh,
Mm.
and like and it's a constitutional monarchy. People sometimes they think about like, whoa, why'd you go to Thailand and stuff. It's like, I just want to be free. Like I felt so America was like, I didn't feel free at all in a lot of these ways that I can be free here in a way that is just it's yeah, so relaxing. How's it there as far as regulations? I know you've actually had to. I know you do everything by the books and rules. You're running a company, and you talk about the law. Obviously, and you have to go by the books. But is it easier as far as those types of technical aspects of the business and legal?
Costa Rica is the only democratic society in
Okay.
Central America. Okay. And so there's no standing army here either. They have a national police force. But
Hmm.
as I say before, it's kind of like country justice. Like everyone
Yeah.
knows each other. So
Yeah.
some kids messing up, the whole town will
Yeah.
take
Yeah.
care of him, make sure he stops,
Hmm.
and make sure the old ladies can walk on the street. And so
Sure.
I kind of like that stuff. It's people that really look out for one another. In fact, I'll tell you what, whenever I've had car issues, like a flat tire,
Yeah.
people are leaving the bus stop, coming out of their house, stopping their car, bringing out the jacks, helping, asking
Hmm.
how I'm doing every time. I've never had an issue where someone has not offered assistance. And
Yeah.
and so that's very nice of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
And asking for directions or certain things. Or also it's just nice to say good morning when you're walking down the street, one after another. It's good morning, good morning, good morning.
Yeah.
Feel like the most popular kid in town. And so um, I never felt threatened that way,
Hmm.
and I've never felt excluded. And as I mentioned before, if you're not in certain areas of town doing certain things, you're going to do just fine.
Yeah.
And but no, Costa Rica, their infrastructure is getting better, so at least you're able to get around the country, and the electricity is usually on. You got the internet, things are
Yeah.
clean, and
Hmm.
so I've mentioned before, it's been a very happy and safe experience. And as I say, thankfully, knock on wood, it's been it's very safe and enjoyable so far.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, one of the is that do you plan to die there?
Oh
Is that
no, no,
no?
no, no.
You're
I'm
going.
going to the next stage, I think, when I do retire. My wife and I are going to live in the States for a while and do the Airbnb thing, probably see all 50
Okay.
states, spend time with
Oh, nice.
family.
Nice.
But I like to check out a little bit of Europe,
Hmm.
like to go down to South America.
Yeah.
Where am I going to die? No, that's a good question. I don't know. Tomorrow we shall die. It depends
Hmm.
where I am. But I think that Costa Rica will always have a place in my heart. I'll come here a little bit every year just to check on investments and visit friends. But I think this was a very nice chapter,
Okay.
but things also need to come to an end. And after 25 years here, I think I've done my Costa Rica experience, and I think there's a couple other places out there that I'd like to spend time, especially when I come visit you out there in Thailand.
Yeah, absolutely. 2040, don't forget. Yeah, that's when it really kicks off. The 2040 is the gathering. That's when I'm really gonna
Hopefully, I'm
hopefully have
there
my castle.
before
But
that time.
anytime before that, obviously, I'd welcome you just with less of a guest houses. I still have some little guest houses that I'd love to just as a stop. Yeah, if any, it's kind of sometimes just to go to a new place. It would be like the first stop. What's cool about Thailand is it is so oriented towards tourism that you could literally just show up and everything would figure out. But kind of just having the comfort, oh, I know somebody, I can, boom, pick you up from the airport, and come here, and then get situated, and you realize, oh, it's actually really cheap to just, you don't have to have anything planned out, and that's one of the amazing things that I found out when I was here. I tried to organize everything, and everybody was just like, ah, just come and we'll figure it out. And I had a connection at a gym where I was teaching, but um it all plays out. But let me kind of that my big question for the wait, did I lose you? Did I lose you? I lost you. Yeah, I was kind of getting into to what I was saying, so I was even looking away from the screen. So I was actually talking for a while before I realized, like, oh, whoa, I'm.
Man, where'd he
Uh,
go?
so I was like, well,
It's like dancing with yourself.
yeah. Um. But yeah, one of the things that I close with
Yeah.
is and it's a but it could actually go for a long time. So because this is huge. This is what I'm working on a little bit about. I mentioned that when I was doing my dissertation, and what I took from it had nothing really to do with my research questions were. That was just kind of an academic pursuit, which I needed to get that little doctor title. But two things actually happened from it, and one was I realized I'm a terrible listener, and I need to be more present, which is funny because I practice Buddhism. I try to be present. I thought I was present, and I found out. So that was a huge awakening, but it has helped me, that one. And the other
All right.
one was so my research was based on just uh people who had experienced the death of a loved one, and I interview them. So and that's why that's how terrible is it that I wasn't present on such an emotional uh discussion with people. But aside from that, what I found and what I've come up with, I've kind of devised this theory. Again, this wasn't part of the research, but it spawned from it, and I'm actually writing a book right now, and it's going to be called How to Live for the Death You Hope to Have. And
Mm-hmm.
initially, some might say, "Oh, I don't hope to die," but of course, we're gonna die, and there's better ways than not to die. So sometimes we uh, can easily identify the ways we don't want to die. Some sort of obviously don't want to be trapped in a box that's too small to lay down and too small to
Jaws.
stand up with spikes. And yeah, I mean, some of those could be almost exhilarating to go out, like you said, a romantic death. I mean, there's an aspect of that.
You want to jump in a volcano?
Yeah, I mean,
What do you want to do?
yeah, and those ones would be easily. You could do that if that's truly how you want to die. That'd be actually a pretty easy way to go. Um,
Mm.
but what I've found, I kind of have this dichotomy of like wanting to live in the present, but at the same time, that's not so practical to be functional, and where we need to prepare for the future. So I've
Mm.
struck this balance where if I have this ideal death that I want to die, I know how I want to die, and it is actually in nature, and that's kind of part of why I'm growing all these trees, so I just can go meditate under a tree someday and have life feel or death feel like a well earned rest at some point that I kind of consciously decide, okay, I'm ooh, this was a long journey and I'm ready to go. That's like
That's
my
right.
ideal death. And then of course then the themes that came up in my research were like resentment, regret, shame, that these are the conversations these people had with their loved ones. And I was like, wow, I don't want to die with any of those. Um and so we can live. So it's kind of grounds me in the present by having an ideal death. It kind of keeps me in check during times in my life when I have decisions to make, and I'm just thinking, is that in line with, you know, you could ask one question is if I die tomorrow, is that the right decision? But also the that's actually easy, and I think a lot of people do that, and a lot of people I know have they do live on the edge, and they almost expect to die, like unexpectedly, and of course we should be prepared to possibly die unexpectedly. But then I ask the question, well, what if you live to 80, 90, assuming that you just die of some organ failure that is natural, are you prepared for that? And I think less people are prepared for that possibility. So I guess a couple questions are: do you have an ideal death, and do you see it as maybe having some benefit if you don't in anything to respond? Yeah.
Oh, so many. I don't fear it because prior to 1972, I didn't even exist. So I don't remember any sort of fear or pain. And
Yeah.
it's almost the same thing as not. It's just the soul moving forward, and I'm okay with that. Secondly, we're all going to die with regrets and what ifs and fears and sadness. But maybe one thing you can do is to forgive yourself because the 9-year-old self that broke a window is not the same as a man that's in their 50s. I would have done that. So you're at a different stage of life. You didn't live enough or didn't understand enough. So don't be so hard on yourself.
Mhm.
And if I do happen to live into the 90s or hundreds, I hope you extremely sedate me so I don't feel any pain. I'm all,
Yeah. Yeah.
loosey goosey. Put
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
sort
Yeah.
of goggles on me
Yeah.
and just let me walk the streets of my hometown again.
Yeah.
But the ideal death is having the ideal life.
Yeah.
And I don't know what people are comparing it to or what we should accomplish of scaling Mount Everest,
Mhm.
going down, the deepest parts of the ocean, or having the most money, or I don't know what people's goals are. And I think sometimes when you get older, those goals either you didn't want them to begin with,
Mhm.
or you just start putting them off your list.
Mhm.
And so I think that the end is the peace of mind,
Mhm.
as you say, that you are ready, not that you're forced into it,
Yeah.
or you're on death row, or the ship's going down.
Yeah.
But you said something interesting. You're planting these trees, and maybe one of the trees that you have planted will be that exact tree
Mhm.
that started sprouting that you will be sitting under.
Mhm.
And you created that tree for you to be at that tree compared to something that was there hundreds of years prior to you. So
Yeah.
um, I think you'll have that moment of clarity before that happens. Knowing someone like yourself, you will find peace and I hope happiness. And just remember, man, we're going to meet each other again in a different life. So, I mean, um, how do you want to spin it? As I say before, this is just a gift and it's a
Mhm.
dream. It
Mhm.
should have never happened. The fact that we're here.
At all. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, as I say, my friend, just eat, drink, and be well. Have a day of sunshine and love, and fill your stomach, and put your head down at night without worry. And if you find ways to self-respect by making a bed, or, as you say, training, or making your body physiologically better, then that's another positive day. And I guess I just stopped competing for what was expected of me and what I grew up to know. And I believe in the natural way. As I say, some of the best things in life are free.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that we're spending a little money today on internet and time and
Yeah.
stuff, but in essence, there's no money exchange today. It's just two friends hanging out and spending some great time together. And as to answer your question, if this were the last day that I lived, and I didn't know about it, but if it were, the fact that I was able to spend a couple hours with you today is great. What a
That's
wonderful
special.
day to
Yeah.
have in your life.
Yeah.
And if I can do this every single day, make a new friend and have nice time, I think you'll live better. And you're asking about, your body physically. I think if you can reduce a lot of the stress
Mhm.
and unnecessary baggage and weight and expectations that people have on you, then maybe they're not the right circle of friends. Maybe it's not the right place for you to be. If you really want to do something, then damn it, do it. Join that group, break away. The Buddha talks about letting things go.
Hmm.
And some of the greatest things people have told me is when they've gotten kicked off of Facebook.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if they still have their friends' phone numbers and email addresses, but they don't have to be a part of something that they just weren't really into in the first place. I'm just using that as one
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
And so, um, but I tell you, there's also religion that's attached to it and
Hmm.
philosophy. And so I'm not one to tell people how to take their last breath,
Hmm.
but my mother gave me good advice. She goes, listen, if grandma can do it, I can do it. So if mommy says it's not going to hurt, then I can go through it too.
Yeah.
And she didn't put the fear of God in me. And so and if you believe that when we do go, that we then reconnect with individuals that have gone before us, I think that's a beautiful thing. How welcoming.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, yeah,
That final, that's kind of what I guess that I feel like there will be a moment of clarity where that, or that final moment, that final thought, that is what continues on when so it is important, I think, to have kind of things in psychological order, or you're gonna it's whatever resentment or shame or regret that you do have, which will be some, of course, but you're gonna take that with you. Like you're gonna have to address it in the that's kind of a spiritual, whether it's reincarnation or just some sort of cosmic energy that is transcends you. I feel like that final moment is somewhat encapsulated, or maybe that's like our final moment, and it just will feel like an eternity. That because time isn't real. I mean,
think about a pyramid, the base and how big it goes.
mhm.
Eventually, you get to the apex, the point, and then the point has a point.
Yeah,
So there's
yeah.
still that
It's
final
like that
little dot
mhm,
that's at the top of that. That, my friend,
Zeno
the
paradox type.
culmination of everything is that final little dot. And if
Yeah.
you want, you can even flip the pyramid upside down and that little dot could still support the rest. And so to answer your question, it's that little last second drop of life that's in you that will be it.
Hmm.
That will be the entire
Yeah.
back of the book
Yeah.
explanation of my man's life. That's it, because there ain't no more. And so
Yeah.
if that's your last sip of coffee, bite of chocolate, and breath of life, I think you're going to savor that the most. And yes, my friend, if you do it accordingly, it will last for eternity or be the bridge to get you to the next life. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. That's powerful, man. Thank you. This conversation's been rich in ideas and presence.
We went all over the place today.
Yeah, I like that. I like the, I mean, coming with some structure and and the more the more I listen, I can kind of tell when I'm.
Doc, I think you're on mute. I can't hear you.
Oh, what happened? Oh, there we go. Yeah, huh? I don't know how that did
But your
I.
body language was great. You look really animated. What were you saying again? I was trying to read your lips, but you got a big beard. I couldn't catch you.
um,
What'd you say?
yeah, let's see what I was saying. I was yeah, talking about how listening to you, like I prepare for these uh podcasts in ways that it's a little intimidating sometimes because I feel like, wow, you've got these you've, like, I'm honored, like, why did you want to come here, and you're successful, you have all these things to that you could be doing,
Because you're the man.
and
And water sees its own level. And I wanted to hang out with you for a little bit. See, you don't realize a lot of your audience you've never met, but people are listening to you. They like you. I just had enough guts to write you and say, yo, man, I want to be on your podcast.
yeah, I mean, it's kind of Yeah, I mean
Don't
it's
be nervous anymore. This stuff, you run a great show, and plus you can kick everyone's ass. So what are you nervous about? And you do a really fun show.
yeah,
Be proud of what you're doing. If you're going to sign your name to something,
yeah,
put your heart into it, which I know you do.
yeah. No,
Hmm.
it is it's fun to get to have uh different, yeah, different souls, different just energies that you bring. You remind us that the real art of communication isn't what we say. It's about how we listen, and how how deeply we understand each other, and that can't be
But there is
practiced.
structure.
There
You're
is
a
there's
professional fighter. You just don't want to throw haymakers. You get caught on that. You're predictable.
Yeah.
No, you really should study rhetoric,
Hmm.
sentence structure. I'm not trying to lecture you like you're a school teacher, but no, as I mentioned before, there's certain words you can power up and you can
Yeah.
take out certain words that can upset people.
Uh-huh.
And you can, as I mentioned, use people's words and let them lead the
Hmm.
conversation. It's like surf or turf. You want seafood, stop talking steak. Seriously.
Hmm.
And some people just don't do that. As you said earlier about asking all those questions, it's great to have those questions, but sometimes might never ask a single one.
Yeah.
Conversation could go everywhere and anywhere. Let it happen naturally, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. No, it definitely that's yeah, that's how this went. I kind of was expecting it to go like this, so it's fun. It's fun to really live in the moment. I think you've taught us that uh dignity was a theme. I know. Um
Mm.
uh the way you treat people, treat everybody.
Sincerity,
Absolute
authenticity.
authenticity is one.
They'll see through it if you're not authentic.
Yeah. And then at the same time, when uh fear is removed, it gives us that comfortable space for curiosity, um and just you have this poetic professionalism, and the kind of
I've practiced it 1,000 times. I'm supposed to know what the hell I'm doing,
a yeah.
but it is a skill
Hmm.
set.
Hmm.
And I will say this, yeah, I was asking you earlier the difference between the Chinese and the North American students. Well, to me, I see it as generational. The kids today sometimes lack eye contact.
Hmm.
If you are uncomfortable with it, look in between somebody's eyes because someone could
Yeah.
be a Medusa. They could suck the life out of you. But if someone's giving the energy, you take it.
Yeah.
And as I mentioned, they need to practice speaking because they're too soft spoken or they're repeating the same thing over and over again. They don't have depth.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if you want to make a lot of money, if you want to be marketable, just learn how to speak the
Hmm.
old school way.
Hmm.
And I think I gave your audience some homework. I mentioned certain actors and stuff, but we have the technology. You said it yourself. You listen to your podcast. I think your audience should record themselves just reading the newspaper or whatever their script is or their presentations, and they should study themselves. And easier said than done. Most people do it for a day or two, but they won't show the commitment. After 22 days, it becomes habit. So I
Yeah.
think if people really do this, it is something that will give them a rate of return if they make that investment.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are words of wisdom, and I uh hopefully that, yeah, that's something that I can embrace too, and it's kind of reinforcing to hear that. So thank you for teaching us how to be in the now, and even in a metrics driven world, thank you
Mm.
for modeling what it means to live with both strategy and soul. Uh,
Oh, yeah.
it's been a total joy. So
I had a great time.